In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use Thirdweb to write your own Solidity smart contract, set up a release for the contract so it can be shared and deployed by team members, and build a front-end site using Next.js and Tailwind CSS, as well as Thirdweb's Web3 UI components to connect the smart contract to the front end. We're going to be building a very simple ERC20 voting token signature mint landing page. I get a lot of questions from people who want to know how they could release a token that anyone could just mint and be part of a group with voting rights without all the extra friction of pre-sales and things like that. So this is going to be a very basic and simple example to show you how you can use Thirdweb's tools to become an end-to-end Web3 developer. So thank you to Thirdweb for partnering with me for this video. What they do is simplify the current smart contract workflow, especially when it comes to working with a team. Using Thirdweb, you can easily share contracts with team members and clients, with no need to share private keys. You can keep track of released versions and deployed contracts across different blockchains, stop error-prone copying of ABIs and other info, and even release contracts from a team Gnosis safe. In this video, we'll be looking at their new feature, Thirdweb Release. Today, smart contract development is pretty fragmented and disorganized. Deploying contracts and connecting them to apps involves multiple painful steps. There's not a great way to keep track of contract versions and updates. And there isn't a secure way for teams and developers to share contracts with collaborators. By creating a release with Thirdweb, your contracts become shareable, verifiable, and deployable by anyone. Their registry is permissionless, trustless, and backed by decentralized storage. You'll also have access to deploy your smart contract through Thirdweb Deploy, which allows you to take advantage of their automatic SDK to interact with your contracts easily, and manage and view activity of your contracts through a dashboard. So with that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment if you'd like to see more videos about building in Web3, and let's get into the tutorial. So in a new project folder, we're just going to run npx thirdweb create -- contract. And this is going to generate a little smart contract project for us that's kind of a pre-built template that we can start with to then work off of and expand on ourselves. And we are going to have a project called Thirdweb Contract. We're going to use a hard hat configuration, and we will go ahead and select ERC20 here for the configuration that we want to use. And we are going to make this a vote with signature mint token. So we'll select that configuration as well. And we'll let this build here. All right, so we will go ahead and cd into the project now. And then I'm just going to say code space dot to open up my VS Code, and we can look at what this has generated here for us. So we can see, we'll just make this a little bit bigger here so we can see this a little easier. And if we take a look in our contracts folder here, we can see that a contract.sol file has already been created for us. And we can see that this contract is inheriting from the ERC20 signature mint vote contract that Thirdweb has, and it's being imported here. So if we actually take a look at their code on GitHub, we can see the actual contract here this is inheriting from. We'll go to ERC20 signature mint vote, and here it is. So this is the actual contract that we're implementing. And we can see this inherits from a few different other contracts as well. So if we go back here and we go to ERC20 vote, the contract we're inheriting from is inheriting from this contract. So we can check all of those out on Thirdweb's GitHub. So coming back over here, we're going to expand a little bit on this contract that we were given, and we're going to import the permissions contract. So we're going to go ahead and customize this a little bit. So we'll add permissions to inherit from here. And we are going to set up a role and have a role-based guard on our function, just so we can see a way that we could kind of expand on this contract ourselves. So we'll go ahead and say set up role. And we're going to use the built-in default admin role here. And we'll set up a function that if you're the admin, you can start and stop the token sale. So basically control whether people are able to mint the token or not. So we need to set this to message.sender so that the address of the deployer of this contract is the admin, so no one else will have access to do that. So coming back up here to the top, if we wanted to create our own separate role that's not using the default admin role, we wanted to assign a more custom role, we could do that as well. Their example, they create a number role, so we could say like bytes32, create a public constant variable number role. And you could just do something like this and use these roles however you want to use them. So we would set that up just like this. Now we aren't going to need this this other role for the permission control that we're doing. Just move this out a little bit again so we can see it better. But if you want to know how to set that up, you can create other roles just like this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create the Boolean variable to control whether or not basically toggle whether or not the ability to mint is true or false. So we'll create a Boolean public variable. We'll call it allow sale. And actually, it's bool, not Boolean for the type. Hello. So now we're going to come down and create the function to start the actual sale. So we'll say function start sale. Okay, and that's going to take in an argument of true or false, whether we want to allow the sale or not. We will give this a public visibility type, and we will limit it to the admin role that we have up above by using the only role. And then in here, we will add our logic to actually start the sale. So, there we go. Allow sale is equal to the argument that we pass in to this function. So if we actually go back over to the GitHub, what we want to do is override this mint2 function on the contract we're inheriting from. So this here is on the ERC20 vote function, which if we remember back over at the signature mint function, or the signature mint contract, it's inheriting from the ERC20 vote contract. So we want to go ahead and override that function here in our contract. So I'll paste it in and just get rid of this logic here in the middle. And I'm going to add override to this function. And this allows us to implement some logic that's going to take place before this before this function is called on the original contract. So in order for this mint2 function to run, we're going to require that the allow sale variable is equal to true. And if it's not, we're just going to send the message minting is currently closed. Now we're going to use super here, super.mint2, and that's going to allow us to actually call the function back on the original contract, and we're going to pass in these arguments to that function. So the address of the wallet that is calling this function and the amount of tokens they want to mint. Okay, now we're just going to run npx Thirdweb release. And what this is going to do is this is going to create a little release page for us on Thirdweb with a dashboard and notes about the project. So this is all generated for us when that finishes. So we'll go ahead and look through this. So this allows you to have easy deploys, on-chain analytics, and just kind of makes the development cycle a little bit easier to manage, especially with a team. So here's our contract here, and I'm actually going to quickly go out and grab an image. I like to grab panda images for all of my test data. That's just, I had a coworker one time that used pandas for everything in our projects. I just kind of have adopted that since then, and I always use pandas. So we're gonna go ahead and make the picture for this contract be a panda bear, and we'll put that in there. And now we can see we've got a nice kind of little profile picture sort of thing here. So in the description, we're gonna go ahead and put ERC20 signature mint vote token. All right, and then down here in the about section, you would normally put some important information about how other people can use the contract, release notes, version notes, that sort of thing. We'll just say this is a super fun YouTube tutorial. Cool, and then you can see they've got a version number down here for you. They've got a place where you could link to a smart contract security audit, which is a really nice thing that you can have as well. So we will go ahead and click create release, and it's going to ask for us to confirm this in our MetaMask. So I'll go ahead and sign this. There we go. And now it'll take some time. Now we can see we successfully created the release. So now we've got kind of this dashboard. We can see all of our functions here on our contract. So we can scroll down and see all the different actions that we can call. We've got our events, and we've also got sources. We can see all the different contracts that we've inherited from and that are being used here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and click deploy now. So I'm just going to name this Panda, and we'll call it PND for the symbol. And I'm gonna go ahead and copy my wallet address and make myself the primary sale recipient. Now I already have the Goerli test network selected, so I'll just go ahead and deploy this now. And we will confirm here in MetaMask, and this will take a little bit as well. And we will sign this. Okay. When that finishes, we can see that we've successfully deployed the contract. Now here's our dashboard. We've got all sorts of different tabs here: Explorer, tokens, permissions. We can see the total supply of our tokens, who owns them. We've got some pre-built code components here that they've generated for us, which we'll come back to here in a little bit. So and then we've also got our metadata information here. And then we've got the sources list again as well, all of our contracts. So if we come over here to the Explorer tab, we can see the start sale function here that we created, which is available. So let's go ahead and click on that one, and let's set it to true and execute that. And we're gonna have to confirm again in MetaMask. And when that executes, we can see the output here. We can see our wallet, and let's go ahead and try now to mint a token. So let's try to mint one. We see MetaMask pops up, and we can confirm. And that will also take a second. There we go, success, tokens minted. If we look in our tokens tab, now we see there's one Panda token total supply, one Panda token owned by us. So that worked well. Now, what if we come back over to the Explorer tab and we go ahead and try this function again? Where is it? Hello? There we go. And we go ahead and set it this time to false. And we'll execute this just so we can see how this works here. All right, now we come back over to tokens. Let's attempt to mint a token. And we're gonna get an error, failed to send transaction, and we do see our message that minting is currently closed. So that's as expected. We can't mint a token when the admin, have not started the sale yet. So we know our contract is working as expected. So now let's go ahead and create the front end to interact with this token drop contract. So I'm going to create a folder for the front end, cd in, and then what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to use one of Thirdweb's templates. So they've got a variety of different starter templates that you can choose from for all different types of projects. There's NFT drops and rewards, games, different tokens, all sorts of stuff that you can choose from. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the token drop project, even though this is a signature mint, not a drop. So there's a little bit of stuff we'll have to change there. But this will provide a good starting point for us. So we'll just paste that here and let this run. And we're going to use token drop. Perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and cd into the project and open this up and see what this gives us out of the box. So make this expanded again here a little bit. Cool, okay, so we've got all these different folders here that were created for us. We've got some components, our page, our public folder with some assets, and our style sheet. So this is a pretty basic, very bare bones Next.js project out of the box. I want to actually go ahead and install Tailwind CSS so we can make our styling a little bit easier. So we'll just go to the Tailwind instructions for installing this into Next.js, and we'll just follow the steps here. So I'm actually going to run just a quick npm install so we can get a package.json. Cool. All right, we'll paste in these first set of commands from Tailwind. And this is going to set up for us a little Tailwind config file. So when that's done, if we open back up our code here, we can now see we have a tailwind.config.js file here. So in this configuration, in the content section, we're going to paste in the different file extensions that they have for us. So we'll just add that here. And then we will add this code here to our global CSS file. So we'll go back, global CSS, and I'll just add these in right at the top. Okay. And then save those files, and now we will just go ahead and say npm run dev. And now our project is ready. If we go to localhost 3000, we can see we have this basic demo page in the browser set up and ready to go. We've got a connect wallet button. We've already got our input for where we want to put our tokens. So perfect. All right, I want to get rid of this little default GitHub logo in the corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the footer, save that. We can see it updated right away, so our hot reload is working as well. All right, now I want to make some changes to this text here. So I'm going to come over to the index.js file. And I am going to go ahead and update this main title here. Instead of claim tokens, we're going to say panda mint. And then down here, just going to go ahead and change this to mint your PND voting token. And get rid of this and just comment out this extra stuff for now. Okay, there we go. Now we have Panda Mint, mint your PND voting tokens on our little landing page here. So I'm also going to change this from enter amount to claim to enter number of tokens, just to make that a little bit more clear with the signature mint vote. And then I want to go ahead and add an image on this page to spice it up a little bit. So we're going to drag our panda picture back into the project. There we go, looking good. So then I'll come back up to our index file, and I'm just going to go ahead and add an image tag here, and source equals path to our panda image. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of Tailwind CSS here. So we'll do class name, and I am going to make it rounded, make the corners rounded, just so it looks a little bit more polished. Sweet. All right, we've got our rounded corner panda picture here on our landing page. So we're coming together. And then one other thing I'm gonna do, go to this global CSS file. I'm just gonna make the background a little bit darker, just because I personally kind of like the look of dark backgrounds on site. So just change that root black to be a little bit darker. Cool. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and create a header component. So I'm going to make a new file in our components folder, header.jsx. And I'm actually going to use a Tailwind UI component in here to make this a little bit easier for us to build. It's one of the nice things about using Tailwind. They have these pre-built components. So if I go to Tailwind UI, here's their different header components that we can use. And we can see they have a few different options of styles that we could add into our project. And if we go to the code, it's just right here, we can paste it in. So I'm gonna paste a little bit of this in to our code over here, and we'll make a few changes to it. So if I need to actually install the headless UI React package in order for this to work. This component relies on this package. So I'm gonna install that really quick. There we go. Okay, and now back in our app.js file, I'm gonna just import this header component. And oh, yep, I actually need to do the import statement up at the top. So let's do import header from and path. Okay, so now when we save this, yep, we should see our header up here at the top, and this is all nice and responsive for us out of the box, which is really handy. So let's come back over to our header component, and let's make some changes. So I want to add the panda picture to the header up in the corner. I want it to say panda mint, and I want to go ahead and add pnd mint here as well. I'm going to change the background to be transparent instead of white. And then I want to change this sign up button to actually be a button that links out to the token contract if people want to take a look. So I'm going to make this a token contract. And then for the link, I'm actually just going to grab the URL of our little dashboard out on Thirdweb and paste that in. And then we'll save this. And now we can see we've got our newly styled header. And if we click this token contract button, it's going to take us right to our dashboard where people can look at the release notes and the relevant information on the token contract. So this is looking pretty good. Now we've got this connect wallet button here that was pre-configured for us. So Thirdweb has this really nice Web3 button component that handles a lot of the Web3 wallet connection functionality for you out of the box. So what we can actually do, you can see it's imported here from Thirdweb Dev. So this is a really handy thing to have, and what we can actually do with this is if we come back over to our dashboard and we go back to those components we mentioned earlier, we can see that they have generated a Web3 button component for us, specifically for our contract and the functionality that we have. And they have this for a few different languages and stuff here, depending on what you want to use. So if we come up to this drop down, we can actually see that they auto-generate a button for us for all the different functions that are available on our contract, which is really nice. So if we wanted to use start sale and we wanted to have a button for the admin, we could set that up easily. But we're going to go with the mint2 function. I'm just going to copy this functionality here in the action and replace the Web3 button in this project with the action that they gave us. So we can see this is going to call the mint2 function with those arguments that we need for that function. And then I'm going to paste our contract address in here, so we're calling the right contract. Okay, so we can see that in app.js, our chain ID is already set by default to the Goerli test network. So we're already on the right network there. Don't have to worry about that. Close out some of these extra files here. All right, so now we need to make sure that we're passing the right values for to and amount into this function on our contract. So we've already got set amount to claim set up on change with our input in the input field here. They already had that set up for us, and that's being stored in state here in this amount to claim variable. So we'll just copy that, grab it, and we're gonna put that here in the amount where it's expecting the amount to claim. All right, so whatever amount we put in that input bar is gonna get passed in. So now we just need to set up the to and make sure that it gets the address of the wallet that's connected. The way that we can do that is with the use address function that we can import, add to our import from Thirdweb. And this is just gonna allow us to hook into what the Web3 button is doing with the wallet connection and get the address of the wallet that's currently connected. So we'll create a variable, const address, and we'll get that use address function. And that's just gonna store the connected address in that variable. And that's pretty much all that we have to do. So then we can go ahead and just put address, put our address variable here in our Web3 button contract call. And instead of claim, I'm actually gonna have this just alert success for now. Okay, so we'll save this. Actually, you know what? I also wanna have this say mint tokens rather than claim tokens here. All right, so that's pretty much it. We've pretty much done all of the major steps that we need to do to get this basic mint page working. So let's give this a try. I'll move this back over to the middle here, and let's see if all of our pieces came together. So I'll connect my MetaMask wallet. Cool. Now let's just test. If I don't enter a number of tokens to mint and I try to just mint, I'm gonna get an error. It's gonna throw. So we don't have to worry about that. The error handling is already there. We have to put in a number of tokens. So let's try now to mint 1 token. And it's gonna go ahead and ask us to confirm. So we'll just go down, confirm. And this will also take a minute, and then we will get a success message that we were able to successfully mint our Panda token. So if we head back over to our Thirdweb dashboard and we come over to events, we can see this transfer that just took place and the 1 token sent to our wallet. So that's it. Thirdweb makes this really easy. We now have a working landing page for ERC20 signature mint voting tokens. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you learned something useful about building and deploying smart contracts and front ends using Thirdweb. If you want, you can check out more information in the description. And once again, don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up because it literally takes me like a million years to edit tutorial videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.